Śaṅkara bandhana jnana kalpitan svasvarupavabodhena moktum iccami mumukṣutvām ahankaratidehantan. From egotism to the body, bandhan, bondage, ajnana kalpitan, imagined due to ignorance, svasvarupavabodhena, by the knowledge of one's own real nature, moktum, to be free, iccha, desire, mumukṣutvām is Mumukṣutvām. Mumukṣutvām, or yearning for liberation, is the desire to free oneself from all bondage superimposed by ignorance, from egotism to the body, by realizing one's true nature. Namaste. So, Mumukṣutvām is the desire to free oneself from bondage. What bondage? He says right in the beginning of the verse, ahankaratidehantan, bandhan. The bondage from the false ego, ahankar, down to the body. So we can understand this includes all the 5 koshas, or shells. The annamaya kosha, the food body, the gross body, this thing. The pranamaya kosha, the subtle body of energy, life energy or airs. The manomaya kosha, the mind body, mental body. Vijnanamaya kosha, the intelligence body. And anandamaya kosha, the bliss body. So these different bodies, these different koshas or sheaths that cover the self are attachments. One is identified with them. One thinks, this is me, this is myself. But actually, this is only imagination. Everywhere, in every living being, there is one self, and that is Brahman. Consciousness is the same in all living bodies. It has the same functions. It goes through the same transformations from Jagrat, or knowledge of the sense organs and their objects, through Svapna, knowledge of dreams and thoughts, to Sushupti, where consciousness is there but it has no object. And finally, Turiya, the transcendental awareness, the substrate of all kinds of consciousness. So until we come to terms with these things and let them go, there is no liberation. There is a certainty that we will come back again into this world. If this body falls down and goes away, then we will still desire to be embodied, so we'll create another one. That's samsara, the wheel of birth and death. And we've been going round and round this wheel since time immemorial. So isn't it about time that we got off? Stop the world, I want to get off. This is Mumukṣutvām, this desire to let go of these attachments and identifications. And then what does he say more? Ajnana kalpitan, that it's imagined due to ignorance. We don't know the science of the self. We don't know the logic, the calculus of consciousness. So we mistake these illusory coverings as ourself, but they are not. And the proof is very simple. We are aware of them. We are aware of the body. That means the body is separate from us. So how can that be the self? We are aware of the prana, the energy. So that can't be the self. We are aware of the mind and thoughts. So it's not possible that that could be the self. And we are aware of the intelligence, the plan-making and evaluation process in the mind. So that can't be the self. And finally, we are aware of bliss, especially during deep sleep in sushupti consciousness. So that can't be the self either. Why? Because it's an object of consciousness. It's not consciousness itself. The self is never perceived. Because, why? The self is the perceiver. So just like a camera can't take a picture of itself, your eye can't see itself, the same is true of consciousness. It cannot perceive itself. That is why the self is always imperceivable in everybody. So consciousness cannot be found by any kind of scientific experiment or, any kind of instruments or any kind of evaluations based on philosophical instruments, such as logic and so on. But it can be directly felt. If I ask you, do you exist? You're going to say, yeah, sure. But when I ask you, how do you know? Well, I just know. Because in ordinary life, we're used to using instruments, such as the mind and intelligence, to be aware of things through the senses, through the body. And all these instruments are not the self. So they are not means that we can use to perceive the self. The self is imperceivable because it is the knower. So the knower is the same in everybody. All living creatures display the same symptoms of consciousness: waking, dreaming, deep sleep, and pure awareness. And our problem is that we mistake the things that we perceive, like the body and the senses, the mind, and so on, as the self. But it's not true, it's just imaginary. We are projecting our sense of self on these other objects, and therefore they seem to be alive and conscious and active and so on. But actually they're not. They're just machines, they're mechanical. Yeah, they're sophisticated biological machines, but still machines. They don't have any will of their own. They don't have any activity of their own. They depend on the self, the actual self, to glue them all together into what we call a human being. So try to understand. Once we become mature in knowledge, we desire to be free, moksha. I want to be free from this embodiment, from these upadhis, these coverings, these additional extra parts that we don't really need, that are not really the self, and that are not really even alive. They only appear to be because of the reflection of the energy of the self, the consciousness of the self. So all these things, these imaginations, these coverings, have to be overcome. How? By knowledge, jnana, transcendental knowledge, and by the calculus of consciousness. And we're going to get into that in a new series that's coming up soon. Hopefully you will stick around and watch it. We're going to use Socratic dialogues to lead one to the recognition of the actual self, different from the mind and body. And this is possible because the Advaita philosophy is perfectly logical. It has no flaws, no contradictions. So one can easily be walked through it and simply by self-observation come to the same conclusions as Śaṅkarācārya is giving in his books. This is the power of knowledge of the self, Atma Jnana.
Om Tat Sat, Om Shakti